All right. Black Box Radio. We are in the box. Y'all see us?
We,
Sister Circle today.
we are in the
Friday the
building.
That's right. Friday the 13th. We are in here. Ain't nothing scurry. This is all gonna be information, love, and black women. That's what you about to get
That's
right
right.
there. And so this is I created this series for this wonderful woman I have with me. We're gonna talk to her soon, but it's called bbR LuncHiN because I've never been on mic at 12 at 12:30 or between this time. So this is like I'm like I wish I had some lunch here, but I can't talk and eat. I can't talk and eat. But this is the bbR luncheon, and we want to have a time in the middle of the day where we get some information in, we get some fun in, and we just do our thing. Like Black Boxers, y'all know what we do. This is what we do. So I'm Queen. I am a host at Black Box Radio. We are a media platform for Black excellence. We platform Black people, we expose Black genius, and we disseminate information from the Black community. That's what we do. And then we also, which is so important, we humanize the Black experience. Everybody wants to say who we are, but we're just people. And our experience needs humanization because we live under a lot of stress. So that's one of the things that we want. We want people to just know we are just people trying to raise our children, have great families, eat well. We're trying to do everything everybody else is doing. So that's what we do at Black Box Radio. And we also, we got spaces for Black women because you're looking at me. So let's be clear about that. We're going to have a space for a Black woman. But this series right here is so amazing because we have Debbie Williams. Say hi to the people.
Hi to the people. Hi, everybody. How are you?
You guys hear her voice, so she's very good at this. Trust me, she's very good at this. Miss Debbie, you're located in Atlanta. Can you just tell us who is Debbie Williams so people can know why I'm so excited to have you?
Okay, so who is Debbie Williams?
Yeah.
Debbie Williams, I am a board certified nutritionist, a hair loss practitioner. I am a health and wellness coach. I am a certified kidney coach. I believe in health and wellness, and my whole goal is to help everybody understand that we need to take it back to nature. Our health is very important. Everything about us is very important. I actually, if you really want to know my story, I started out as a hairstylist over 30 years ago. And before becoming a hairstylist, I was supposed to be an attorney. Law was my love, and law is still a passion of mine. Wow. But of course, coming out of high school, I asked my dad, can you just give me that 1 year off so that I can maybe, just like figure it out, Daddy, and maybe work a little. And he kept telling me, you sure you want to do this? And I was like, yeah, give me that 1 year. That 1 year turned into me a few years later getting married, a few years later having children. And even then I kept saying I wanted to go back to law school. And I just never did. But I still had other passions because while I was in high school, I was doing hair. My family's from Baltimore. My sister did hair. And so I kind of picked it up. And when I didn't do law, my second passion was hair. So I just kind of blew up doing hair. And I had, at the time, when my kids were young, I had asked my husband, ex-husband now, I asked him, can we move to Atlanta? Because back then in the early 90s, Atlanta was happening. We called upward. We used this word back then, upward mobility. And it basically was a spot where if you were Black and you were trying to do your thing, go to Atlanta. And so we picked up with $1,000 in our pocket and two little kids, a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, and we came down to Atlanta. And as soon as I came to Atlanta, I jumped into business. That was the year of the very next year was the what was it? The Olympics.
Yeah, I've been to the Olympics in Atlanta.
Yeah, I was a vendor in the Olympics. I always had that entrepreneur spirit, and I had the Olympic T-shirts. I had the type of shirts nobody else had. So every day we sold out of our stuff. And with that, I think it was 1 week. Every day I was making like $20,000. And I kept saying, okay, this money is great, but I need to do something with it. So I decided to open up a salon. So that's why I'm just telling my story. And when I had a salon and I was doing exceptionally well down here in Atlanta. I always like to be different than the next business. So when I opened my salon, I was doing natural things that they're now doing now that I started doing in the early 90s. I wasn't
Wow.
doing your typical type of ghetto hairstyles, and I will put it out there. I wasn't doing that. You couldn't come in my
Debbie,
shop.
did you say ghetto? Did you say
I
ghetto?
did say ghetto because back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s, we had these hairdos where you had like 5 styles in one. You had a ponytail on this side, you had some curls going over there. It was, yeah, I'm calling it that because it was crunchy. You had it all this
It was
gel,
hard.
and it was
Yeah.
hard. And I knew that was going to destroy the hair and the scalp. So if somebody came to me and was like, I want this style right here, I would say, I can't. We don't do those type of styles. I want your hair to be healthy. I need to help your scalp, And so that's how I built my salon, which was known across the country for healthy hair and healthy scalp. And I was doing sew-ins back then. And I was one of the original people who created the sew-in with the netting, because the netting would actually help the hair. I became a phenomenon in Atlanta without even trying, and there was no internet back then. But
Really?
how I got to where I am now is when I had my salon and I saw someone had a bald spot, or I was washing their hair and I could see strands of hair coming out, I would say to them back then, hey, listen, I'm seeing this bald spot coming in your hair, or your hair's coming out. I want you to go to the doctor. I want you to go to your dermatologist. And every time I would say that to someone who was sitting in my chair, they'd go, okay, Debbie, if you think I should go to the doctor, I'll go. And so they'd go to the doctor. And then in their next appointment, they say, Debbie, I went to the doctor. The doctor said nothing's wrong with me. And I would get frustrated, Queen, because I would say, your hair is coming out. And I know it's not from something I'm doing, because the products that I use, like I didn't really use relaxers. I didn't use a lot of things back in the 90s because I knew those chemicals was getting down into not just in the hair, but they were seeping into our body. And so when I saw these issues, dry scalp, excessive dandruff, back then I would say, your doctor, there's something going on with your body. But Queen, after so many people I would send to a doctor would come back and say, Debbie, the doctor took blood, the doctor took urine, the doctor said I was fine. I said, yeah, I need to do something about it. So that's when I decided I got to help my clients, because doctors, and I'm not disrespecting doctors, but the doctors wasn't finding out what was going on. And I think the icing on the cake for me was when one of my stylists, her client, hair started coming out. And my stylist had said to me one day, Debbie, can you come over to my chair and look at her scalp? And I looked at her scalp and I said, oh, honey, something's going on with you. Your scalp is real tender. It's red. Your hair is coming out. And she said, girl, please, it's stress. It's my husband. It's my kids. It's my job. And I said, I get it. I understand your job and your husband, but something's going on with your body. Please go see a doctor. And she wanted to argue with me in the chair. She was like, girl, I ain't going to no doctor. I'm telling you, if I get rid of that husband, I'll get rid of this problem. And I said, okay, that's personal, but I'm here to tell you something's going on. So she saw I was serious. And then she said, you know what? I'm due for my annual. Fine. If this will make you better, happy, I'll go to the doctor. And I was like, please. A few weeks later, she came back into the shop. She didn't have an appointment. She stood in the middle of the shop as soon as she walked in, Queen, and she just bust out and started crying. So all of us, and I had a big shop. I had a huge shop. It was beautiful, 20-foot ceilings. It was stunning. And so when she came in, as soon as she stopped and started crying, everybody, all of us stopped what we were doing, because we thought, did something happen in the parking lot? And I went over to her and I said, what's wrong, honey? What's wrong? And she said, I don't have an appointment today, Debbie, but I came back because I had to thank you. I'm glad you forced me to the doctor. She said, because girl, they found cancer. And when she said that, now we crying. And she was like, don't cry. I'm good. She said, because I'm heading into stage 2. She said, we caught it in time. She said, but if you didn't force me to go to the doctor because you were seeing something going on in my scalp, I might not have caught it. That's when I knew that there was a calling from me somewhere else, because I said, okay, I knew something was going on with her. So my first step was to study trichology, which is the study of hair and scalp disorders. And I said, that's what I'll do. I'll become a trichologist. And I studied trichology for years. And trichologists are very smart people. To me, they're just as smart as a dermatologist without that dermatology degree.
So tell me what it is, trichology. Tell me.
They study hair and scalp disorders.
Okay, got it.
But what trichology didn't do for me, Queen, is it didn't help me answer a lot of my questions. See, I'm very analytical. I'm real deep. And you got to tell me why everything is what it is. You can't just tell me, well, it's because of genetics. Well, it's because it's in your DNA. That doesn't satisfy me. And that's what happened in trichology. They would say, well, this is psoriasis. And I would say, well, why does the patient have psoriasis? And they would go, well, science doesn't know that yet. It could be in the family. And I kept saying, I'm sorry, this is not enough. This is not an answer for me. So from trichology, I decided that maybe I should be a medical doctor. And with that short stint of thinking that I wanted to be a Western medicine doctor, I realized that our Western medicine doctors only treat symptoms.
Yes.
They don't get down to the root cause of the problem.
Yes.
And they don't care enough about getting to the root cause of the problem. They want to see as many patients as they can and write a prescription. I knew I didn't want to be one to write prescriptions, because to me, a prescription is only treating the symptom, which is treating the surface. I said, no, that's not what I want to do. So I decided being a Western medicine doctor wasn't for me. So my journey just continued on. And then I decided, well, I'll follow holistic and naturopathic. And Queen, this is where I finally got my why. When I started studying with holistic doctors and studying with naturopathic doctors, every question I had an answer, and the answer made sense. A plus B equals C. It made sense. And that's when I said, this is where I'm supposed to be. And with learning holistics, now we're learning about the whole body. We're learning how the body works. We're learning about minerals. We're learning about nutrition. We're learning about the gut. We're learning about the organs and glands. Things that I've learned our doctors don't learn about in their 7 years of medical school. And I decided this is where I wanted to be. So I got certified in holistic nutrition, and then I went on to become board certified, and I've gone on from there. Now I'm studying functional medicine, because the answers to our health is in our bodies. See, I believe, and this is a fact to me, our body, the way God made this body, the body, for one, wasn't meant to take medication every day, all day long, because our liver cannot process all of that medication. And our liver, which is one of the most important organs in our body, when our liver starts to break down, we start to break down. That's when we start having the symptoms and signs of headache, fatigue, inflammation, diabetes, high blood pressure. Most of it is because of the liver, which is one of the hardest working organs in our body.
It is.
And so I just realized that I've learned so much. I need to share this with the world. I have people across the world that have worked with me that no longer have diabetes, no longer have high blood pressure, no longer have no longer show signs of autoimmune diseases, have grown their hair back. And it all starts from hair. So because I started in the hair industry, that's where most people were finding me, and I loved it. And I just took that from there, because I was letting people know, when you're having a hair loss problem, understand this: hair loss is the symptom, not the problem. And so when you come to me, I'm going to treat the problem, not the symptom. However, when we treat the problem, which is your health, when your health recovers, your hair will recover. So that's how the tie-in is with hair and health with me. When we start having hair problems, whether it's dandruff, an itchy scalp, hair loss, that's just your body telling you that something is going on. And my job is to help people learn how to listen to what the body is saying. Listen to when your body is talking to you. Society has trained us not to listen to our body. And let me explain. Most of us, including myself, when we get a headache, what do most people do? They take an Advil, they take an aspirin, they take a Tylenol. They like, oh man, I got a headache. It get to a point where, and I was one of those, I kept Advil and aspirin in my purse, in my glove compartment. It's one of those things, because when we get the pain, we pop the pill. But what society has trained us is to we want to reduce the pain, but we are not realizing that we're not taking care of the problem. So as long as we are just reducing the pain, most of us are content, but we don't know that it's hurting our body. And over time, the body's going to get pissed off. And the body was like, okay, I've been telling you I'm having some issues and you're not paying attention. So guess what's going to happen now? Next thing you know, you might be in the hospital. You might find out that you got diabetes, you got high blood pressure. You may even have cancer, only because you weren't listening to the signs. And I tell people all the time, cancer just didn't appear in your body. Your body was telling you signs. It was showing you signs for a long time. Our body, it's a magnificent machine. And our body tells you. It's the truth from your eyes. If your eyes is not clear, that's the body telling you something's wrong. A headache, the body's telling you something wrong. A backache, the body's telling you something wrong. Your pee is dark, your body's telling you something wrong. Your tongue is, you got, like a white film on your body is. It's the body talks to us. So my goal, Queen, is to help people learn the signs, learn to know what your body is saying. Because if you can listen to what your body is saying, we can reverse this. We can heal it. Food is medicine. We can't heal the body, and medicine, pharmaceutical medicine, isn't really healing the body. It's kind of just fixing the symptom. It's dormanting or stopping the pain. But if we
Yes.
want to heal the body, we have to start with food, because food is medicine. And another thing, when pharmaceutical companies are making drugs, right, making medicine, they start from a plant. So even the things that they make start from nature. But what they do is they take that plant, they take all the goodness out of that plant. Now they turn it, they make synthetics out of it, they make chemicals out of it. But every medicine starts from a plant. So we need to get back to nature, like I said in the beginning of the conversation, because that's where it all is. When God made the body, he was like, okay, here's the body, but the food is out there. Nature is where all of our food is. Our bodies need minerals every day. That's what sustains us. And minerals and vitamins. And again, vitamins is what most of us know about. And when we over 30 and 40, what do most women do? They go get multivitamins. Because why? Because society said you need multivitamins. But most of the time, you should never take a multivitamin if you don't know what your body needs.
Yeah,
because
you need
what
minerals.
happens is you're taking a multivitamin that got all this calcium, got all this iron, got all these things, and maybe your calcium is fine. So now you are overdosing yourself in calcium, and this next thing you know, you got heart palpitations, you got issues with your neurological system, your hair is dry and brittle because too much calcium is going to dry up your hair. It's so many different things from not knowing what your body is needing. And so that's what I do in my practice. I talk about minerals a lot because I do a test called a hair mineral analysis, because the minerals in your body tells the story of your life.
Minerals is all. You need your minerals. Vitamins you might can do without, but the minerals are everything. And no one talks about that. The minerals,
no one talks about it. And the thing is, what people don't know is they popping all these vitamins. But if your minerals are out of balance, your vitamins can't work, because a vitamin needs a mineral to sustain it. It starts with minerals. Minerals, we say this naturopathically, we say that minerals is the spark plugs to your life. And why is that? It really is. So we compare it to a car. So let me share this with you, how I do this in my consultations.
Okay.
A car has an engine, and the most important part of a car, if you ask somebody what's the most important part of a car, most people will say an engine. I've had people go, the brakes, and I go, good, that is, or the steering wheel. But actually, the most important part to a car is the engine. But here's the deal. That engine is the most important part of the car, but the engine cannot work alone in the car. The engine also needs other components for that car to run. So let's say you bought a car from a dealership, brand new car, which means every component plus the engine is new. But you still can't drive it out of the dealership without fuel. So actually, the most important part of a car is really not the engine, it's the fuel. Because no matter what, it can't run without fuel. So now let's talk about our body. This body we live in, this is our engine. And even in this engine, like a car, the engine alone can't work by itself. Our engine needs other components. Our engine, or the most important part in our engine, most people would probably say is the heart. And that's true, because without the heart, we don't have a body. But that heart also needs that brain. That brain also needs the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, the intestines, the pancreas, the gallbladder. All of those are parts to our engine. So even in our engine cannot run if it doesn't have fuel, just like that car. But the fuel for our engine, Queen, is calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium, iron, copper, zinc, selenium, boron, chromium, sulfur, and manganese, and I'm missing one. Those are the main components. That's the fuel that ignites our body. And that's why we say that minerals are the spark plugs to our life. Because a spark plug is a small little plug in a car. But a car still can't run without that spark plug, because the spark plug ignites the engine. So for us, minerals ignites our engine. And I want to share with people. So when we're having issues, it's normally because there's a mineral out of balance. There's a deficiency in minerals. We're deficient. Most of us are deficient in magnesium, deficient in copper, deficient in calcium and zinc and iron. And when we have these deficiencies, the body responds with pain, problems, fatigue, all those different things. One of the things the body responds to when there's a mineral deficiency, that hair, oh, that hair gonna start to come out. You're gonna have all kind of hair issues. And that's why that was another reason why I brought a hair mineral analysis into my practice. Because when somebody wants me to help them with their hair, I'm not gonna sell you a topical product because that's not gonna do the job. We need to see what's going on internally because the hair on our head is dead. We can't fix this. We got when we want to fix and we want to promote healthy hair, we have to start from the inside out. We have to see one, let's look at what's imbalanced in your body, what where your nutritional levels are, what your minerals are looking like. Then we need to see, let's look at your gut, let's look at your microbiome. Let me see what's going on with the bacteria in your body. When we apply these two, now it'll help us to understand why your body is reacting like that and what we need to do to jumpstart that body to get it rolling again. So that's my story. I'm about health, nutrition, and wellness all through using food as medicine.
When I tell you that story is intensive, I love it. I'm a health professional, so everything you're saying, guys, listen, she is telling the truth. And the problem with us is Western medicine and the standard American diet. Those are the two worst things for the well, I'm down with the African body. That's all I'm worried about right now. Is the
Mm-hmm.
it's for any human body actually, but African body, the standard Western diet is is horrible, and Western medicine only treats, like you said, the problem. It medicates. That's what it does. It's medicine and it medicates the issue, makes you feel better, but the actual real issue is still actually doing what it's doing. It's going forward. So which everything you're saying is so true. So I love this conversation. And we need to understand that if we don't eat good, if you eat trash, you're gonna be trash. That that's it across the board. And
That's
your
right.
body will show you that. And I have a testimony because you
That's
said it.
right.
When I first contacted you, I told you I had some hair loss. And the hair loss, I had an iron deficiency because I had a tumor. And the tumor
Mm.
was eating up all of the blood. And so I had
Yep.
a heavy iron deficiency. So even to the point where I had to get bags of iron. This is being fully transparent. When I removed that
Mm-hmm.
tumor, Miss Debbie, it was 11 pounds. It was a huge tumor.
Wow.
It almost killed me. That's
Feeding
that's
it.
that's number two. And my hair came out in the crown of my head like I had genetic baldness. And I had dreads, and the dreads were I started with 50 dreads. I ended up with five. that
Wow.
that's not that's being literal, but that's how it looked
Mm-hmm.
because it was spacing. Because your hair will do that,
Yeah.
especially when you start to twist it. You start to
Yeah.
twist it, and you're twisting it out of the follicle, and the follicle is already unhealthy. And so, like you said, if you don't feed that follicle, the hair on your head is dead.
Yep.
And that's the point of it. So you're saying everything you just said is truth. It is absolute truth. And we have to change if we want to be healthy. And I see a lot of people there. I don't even take, if I have a headache, I go to sleep or I just deal with it. No
Let me
medicine.
tell you a secret real quick. Here's a headache. A headache
Okay.
is normally your body telling you that she's low in potassium.
Mm,
Potassium, usually you're dehydrated. And a lot of times people are like, I drink 8 gallons of water a day. That does not mean that you're not dehydrated. But a headache is your body telling you, in most instances, that she is low in potassium. So the next time you or anybody else get a headache, here's what I want you to do first: eat a banana. If you eat a banana within 30 minutes, that headache will subside because you just fed her what she was asking you. You understand headache was your body talking to you. That's what I'm saying. Pain is our body's way of getting our attention. It's the
exactly.
only way to communicate. It's any
Exactly.
type of discomfort we have, it's the body saying, I'm having some problems. I know I don't want to hurt you, but listen, if I don't hurt you, you wouldn't know. So here's this little pain. And if we know what that means, it's like, so, if you know now that you get a headache, you take a food rich in potassium, specifically banana, or even an avocado, a half of an avocado, that headache
Okay.
will subside in about 30 minutes.
Wow, that's amazing. I don't have headaches hardly ever. It's usually if I didn't eat for so long, I'll get a headache and then I eat. But
Mm-hmm.
you're right. I usually eat a banana every morning with egg whites. So I try to get
Mm-hmm.
my potassium and that's what you man, you gotta treat things with the earth. The earth is everything. And I totally believe that the earth is everything. My mom sometimes she would walk outside, play in the bushes, and come back and make something. And you feel better. I'm like, what is she
Yeah.
doing? You know,
Mhm.
but a lot of older people, her grandmother did that. She lives in South Carolina, so she learned from her grandmother. You know
And
how
you're
to.
right. So
Go ahead.
when you're talking about the earth, let's talk about this for a minute.
Sure.
Our mother and maybe not our mother, but when our mother was younger, but our mother and our mother's mother and our mother's mother,
Yeah.
when they got sick and whatever they didn't have doctors. Most of them couldn't afford doctors, and doctors weren't as popular as they are at this stage of our
And they
life.
couldn't
But
go. It was no
what
hospital.
did our mothers do? They went
Yeah.
in the backyard. They
Yep.
dug up something from the ground. They broke a bark off a tree. They
Yep.
made whatever medicine they needed for the family, and it healed them. And
And it
like you
healed
said, your
them.
mother, she goes out in the bushes. She goes out in the bushes because she's feeling nature. She's one with nature. The sun is, without enough sun, the sun has a lot to do with how our bodies produce serotonin, which is the feel good hormone. And so I get it. I love that she goes out there, and then you notice when she come back, she feels better. It's for all of us. When you're feeling a little down, go open the door, look up at the sun, take a walk, breathe some air, take your shoes off, walk in the grass so you can be with the earth, and you will find that it will change your whole aura. It will change your whole mood.
Man, that's something. I was just thinking, like, God made this amazing system because the body is a self-healing system. It's an amazing system. It will run like anything that can last for 90 years, 100 years.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's no material we can make that lasts that long.
Mm-hmm.
Than like the body. The
That's
body
right.
is just an amazing thing. And so if that is the case, God gave us everything else to sustain it. That's the sun, that's the leaves, that's the earth, that's the grass. And we're looking to go, we look to go to medicine to sustain ourselves, but he gave us everything we need.
He did. And you say, and I just had a consultation with someone, and I say this too, in the consultation. I say, because when I talk about how powerful minerals are, I want people to understand it. And the other name for mineral, just so people understand, is nutrients. So when you hear the word nutrient, it's actually talking about a mineral. But what I want people to understand is our bodies can't produce it. Our bodies can't make minerals. The way God made the body, he made this body, like you said, is self-healing, but he also supplied everything we need from nature. So
Yep.
for an example, the grass that's outside everybody's door, and you see that green grass. Why is the grass green? How does the grass grow? We all say the water feeds the grass, but actually the water is not actually feeding the grass. The rain that hits down to the grass is actually hitting the soil, and the soil is releasing minerals. So our grass need minerals for it to grow. Our trees, the
Yep.
rain hits the soil releases minerals, and our
Yep.
trees grow, which produces our fruit, which produces our vegetables from the ground. So minerals play a role in every living thing.
Thing.
Every living
Wow.
thing. And I wanted to bring that up because what you said was so powerful about God provided everything for us.
Everything.
Man just got greedy, but
Man is just the worst. Man is the problem because everything is
in
here.
the Bible, it says man is to his own injury, and
Ah,
it is very true.
it's so
But
true.
man just got greedy, but he did. He provided everything from us.
Everything.
And
Hmm.
that's why I keep saying all the time, it's time that we learn to go back to nature. Most today, they're trying to get rid of, and they were almost successful of trying to get rid of natural remedies.
Yep.
Now, some years ago, you couldn't find old natural remedies. Social media and a lot of things have brought it back that you can find natural remedies. But when you were trying to find a natural remedy maybe 10 years ago, you were like, man, I heard about something my mother used to do it, but you could never
Yeah.
find it. But I have dug up so many of them. And that's when I do a lot of my videos off of the natural remedies that I have found from my grandmother, my great grandmother, from
Wow.
people in other cultures. Different cultures, they have beautiful, amazing natural remedies that they've been doing for years. And I just want people to get back to nature to heal the body. Why the body is suffering is because we are clogging it up with preservatives. We are clogging it up with refined and processed foods. And our gut can't digest it. Our liver can't process it. And if the liver can't process it, then the pancreas is going to have a problem when it's time to produce the insulin. The
Insulin.
gallbladder is going to have problems when it's time for bile production. The
Yep.
kidneys is going to have problems. And all of that is because of what we have been eating.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Honestly.
all of that.
Honestly. Because if you go in other areas, like, because we're a very small, spoiled nation too. We have everything, all of this fast food, which is killer food. All of the things that we have in our society to be fast is actually a problem. The earth works in another way. It doesn't work fast.
Right.
So
That's right.
that is one of our detriments. So you go to other places, they don't have the amount of fast food. They might eat the same thing the whole every day almost, with in
Yeah.
different times,
Yeah.
and they have a very healthy population,
They do.
no
Most
cancer,
cultures.
no issues, and they have nothing that we have in the US. So there's something wrong with what we're putting in our mouths. that that
Absolutely.
that's absolutely the issue. And when you say it to folks, they're like, oh well, like my mom says to me, well, you grew up on that meat. Well, I ain't got to stay on it.
Right. Hmm.
So it's not, because we all are in a place of what we knew before, but when you get new information, you have to deal with that new information. You know what I'm saying, Ms. Debbie? The new information.
Speaking of new information, this is a new information that I want to share with your audience, and I know you already know.
Okay.
Hippocrates told us over 2,500 years ago that every disease begins in the gut. And when this was identified to Western medicine was like, that's stupid. No disease begin in the gut. I remember having a conversation with a doctor some years ago, and he was pissed off with me because I was talking to him about gut health, and I was talking to him about leaky gut syndrome. He said, there ain't no such thing as leaky gut syndrome. That sounds stupid. And he was a medical doctor. And I just looked at him, and in my head, I wasn't going to be disrespectful, but I was like, oh, the only stupid one here is you, because you're not listening to
Yep.
what old news is now coming back to new news. And I thought about this when you were talking, what you were just saying, because just recently, I'm going to say in the last 5 years or more, science has finally agreed with Hippocrates that every disease begins in the gut. And so now our doctors need to rethink their thinking. Some of them are very stubborn and they're like, I'm just going to write you a prescription and move on with my
Yep.
life. But yes, so when we are sick, we got to go back and look at the gut because that's
Mm-hmm.
where it all begins. It begins in
Oh,
the microbiome.
yep.
And the microbiome is that trillions of bacteria that lives in our body. We have good bacteria and we have bad bacteria, and they coexist together. And every last one of these bacteria, strands, yeast, fungi, they all play a specific role in the health of our
Yep.
body.
We
But
need them.
here's where the major problem is, because our body is run, and it's the bacteria that actually is keeping our system going. We actually have more bacteria strands in our body than we have human cells. So to be honest with you, we're more bacteria than we are human cells, at least. And the reason why we're all suffering so much is because in our generation and the generation before us, when we got sick and our parents took us to doctors, or even when our parents went to the doctors, the only thing doctors would prescribe for everybody are antibiotics. And
Ah,
okay, so the antibiotic did kill the infection or whatever we needed it for,
it
but what
killed
it
everything
also
else
did was
too.
kill off
It
all of
killed
our good
everything. Yep.
microbiota. Yeah. So
Yep.
that good bacteria that was keeping the balance in our body
Yep.
now is like this because we don't have any more good. We have more of the bad bacteria. So when the bad bacteria see that it doesn't have the good to balance it out, it's like, oh, I got this. I'm gonna take over. Oh, you're gonna have some problems. You're gonna have some digestion issues. You're gonna get
Yep.
fat. You're gonna, because
Yep.
when the bad bacteria takes over, now that's gonna make the liver work hard because the liver is trying to compensate for what the good bacteria can't help it do, and every organ and gland is gonna start having problems. So why are most of us sick right now? Because we don't have enough of the good bacteria back in our system. And because the more we eat processed foods, the bad bacteria feeds off of the processed foods. The bad bacteria
Absolutely.
feeds off of the sugary stuff, feeds off of the salty stuff, feeds off of all of that. And so we become victims of, most people don't even know they have a gluten intolerance. So many things begin because of an issue that began in our gut. And so I do gut health testing in my practice. I do a lot of education in regards to helping people understand the gut system, and what we need to do. And the thing about it is we can heal the gut. And how do we
Mm.
heal our gut? First, we need to find out what's the problem with the gut in the form of how much good bacteria do we have, how much bad bacteria we have. Then we have
Mm.
to treat that with probiotics and prebiotics. We need to feed
Mm,
the good bacteria to help it grow. We need to change our diet, staying away from all the processed stuff that's feeding the bad bacteria. And you'll see how the body changes. Another thing that many people don't know is that our moods and our depression and our anxiety all begin because the gut is damaged. The
that's it.
gut produces the majority of our hormones. One of
Mm-hmm.
them is called serotonin. Serotonin is the feel good hormone. And I think it's 80% of serotonin is produced in the gut. But
In the
if our
gut.
gut is damaged, then the body can't produce that serotonin. And if the body can't produce the serotonin, so now you angry all the time, you got a bad attitude, you're depressed, you're going through anxiety, you're irritable, and you don't understand it. You don't understand why you're feeling this way. Society tells us women we feel this way after 35 because we're going through the change. But it
Yep.
actually is because our gut is all jacked up. Our
Mm-hmm.
our gut is not able to produce all of the B vitamins that it should be producing, and we can't our body can't function, and this is why we wind up having the issue. So when the gut goes bad, then that means that all the other organs are going to try to help and compensate, but after a while they're going to have problems, and then we wind up with our cancers, our diabetes, our autoimmune deficiencies, which is number one from a gut issue. And then of course from there we have the hair loss, we have the acne, we have the all the different things. So if we could just clean our body, detox the liver, which has its own built-in detoxification system.
It does.
Yes, absolutely. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the kidneys help flush out kidneys. You will see how the body, your life, your moods, your attitude will transform just like that.
Man, you are. You know what? I think you the lady Dr. Sabi. That was my man.
I've been told that many times a long time ago before Dr. Sabi even became
Before he
big.
passed, you are Dr. Sabi.
Yes.
You're the modern version. I was like, man, I'm listening to you. I mean, because I love Dr. Sabi, but because what you said is all truth. It is definitely all true. And I was saying this because Baltimore has a problem with violence and young people, unfortunately, and it's not all young. But I tell people, listen, you better look at their diet and their environment and what's going on with their health. They have the triggers that we're not looking at. We're talking about behaviors, but the behaviors, the anger, the aggressiveness, all of that comes from what they're eating, their environment, and they're unhealthy. They stand on the corner and they eat trash. If you don't change that, then you see the triggers of why they're so violent amongst each other because they're angry, they're irritable, and it all starts, like you said, in their nasty gut because they ate a chicken box and a half and half. That is
Absolutely.
the problem. It's really the food. It's the
It
trigger for
is.
all the problems that we see. What do you
So
think?
let me say this. I'm glad you said that about Baltimore and their crime rate, because Baltimore's crime rate is off the chain. And
It's
it wasn't
ridiculous.
always like that. Because, like I
You're
said,
right.
I would come to Baltimore every summer. And, back then we would walk everywhere. And we
Mm-hmm.
would walk from my grandmother's house all the way to what's the name of this park? I mean, we'd be walking for hours, getting to different places to hear music in the park and different things. And as I got older and would come back to Baltimore, I saw how my grandmother's neighborhood changed and how on the corners there was so much drugs. I mean, one day I remember we drove to Baltimore from New York, and literally we were at the stoplight. And this cat came up to the car window, was like, "Yo, you need something? You want something?" And I'm like, "Y'all bold like that?" Another
Yeah.
time, somebody gave me a flyer at the stoplight on where to go get it, and I was like, "Y'all doing it like this in Baltimore now?" And the cops driving by and nobody's saying nothing. But here's
Absolutely.
what the point I wanted to make. In the stores, in those stores have food I've never seen before, like soda. I don't drink soda anymore. But if you notice, and when you go into areas in certain Black communities, they
Yep.
have a lot of foods that you don't see. Like I won't see that in my Publix, in my Kroger. These bottles of soda are loaded with sugar. I mean, it's
Loaded.
intentional. These brands I've never heard of, but I always see them when I'm in a community, a Black community, or I would
Yep.
say, maybe a lower income. Is that the right word to
Yeah,
use?
and
When I would
poverty is
go.
usually it because white folks get it too if they poor. So it's poverty.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, a lower
Yeah.
income neighborhood. You see,
Yep.
you go in, if you have to go into the store, you see that they have all these different, it's so much sugary products. It's like,
Yes.
I never heard of this brand. Where did this come from? Even, girl, when you go to the meat section, the meat is
Yes.
brown, the meat is
It
not
is.
red. And I'm like, what are they doing to us? Why? Well, I mean,
Yep.
that's another topic because I know what they're doing, and I
You
do
know
know
what
the
they're doing.
whys because this
Yeah.
brain is so smart, and it's like if we can control your brain, we can keep you mobilized, you
That's
know.
it.
But yeah,
That's
so
it.
I'm glad you said that because yeah, so that's our job to to enlighten our people. Whether, like you said, we don't it when we say you said there may be other cultures that are in lower income areas, but it's to enlighten that population that stay away from these foods because
Yeah.
that's what's affecting your brain. That's
But
what's
they've
causing
also
your
trained
heart
their
problem.
palate. But Miss Debbie, they train their palate so early. Infamil has sugar in it. Early,
Sugar is
you
addictive.
learn you get addicted to sugar so early in this society. So then you become this agent for sugar, and then you live in these impoverished communities, and they throw sugar around you and everything
Everything is in
from the
sugar's
noodle
in
to the
everything.
juice, everything.
I do a
Yeah.
program. I do a program for sugar. I have a 7-day no sugar program and I have a 21-day get off your sugar program. And what I let people know is that sugar is addictive. Most people don't know.
So
Sugar
addictive.
is more addictive statistically. This is scientific research.
Than
Sugar is
drugs.
more addictive than meth,
Yep.
cocaine, and
Yep.
heroin.
It
Sugar
is.
is more addictive than that. So our food manufacturers is plopping that sugar in there in any way they can
Yep.
because it's an addiction. Most people don't even realize it
Yep.
that it is. But think about the people who go to Starbucks and get their coffee. And I don't need to name out Starbucks, but if you go into a coffee house, coffee
Name
actually is
them.
rather healthy.
Starbucks.
Black
You
coffee
better
is
name
healthy.
them.
But when you go in there and you're ordering a double of this and all of this sugar,
Mm,
it is creating havoc in the
in your
body.
body.
And most
Yeah.
of them, they got to get that sugar in the morning. They'll be late for work before
Yep.
they got to get that coffee. They got to get it in the afternoon. They got to get it in the evening.
But even the
I want people to
caffeine,
realize.
caffeine is poison. Even caffeine, you don't need this caffeine that you're sucking. So you got sugar, you got caffeine. Those are the two. That's your beginning of your day.
Yeah,
Imagine what you got from there. And you
yeah,
probably used all your calories up in that one Starbucks. That one
you
Starbucks
did.
is all the calories. So most of the people going there,
All
you're a
day.
little fat. You got to be a little fat because you're sucking down whipped cream at 8 a.m. in the morning. That's a
Yeah.
problem. Yeah. So
And
those are things that
36
I
teaspoons
don't
of
drink
sugar.
coffee and I don't deal with any of that. And I'm not hurting people, but all of the stuff that's before us, we gotta be able to examine it and understand that it might look good, but when it gets inside of you, it's not doing any good.
It's not. And one thing people need to know is that sugar feeds cancer cells. So if
All
somebody
day.
has cancer, you need to stay away from soda. You need to stay away from the average orange juice in the supermarket. Turn the label over and you will see that it has, I think, about 20 grams of sugar or 30 grams of sugar. And statistically, I can't remember offhand, but I believe that we should only be getting, I think, between 9 and 15 grams of sugar a day. So in one cup of juice, you just
You
had
don't.
double the amount of sugar you should have for the entire day.
Yep. And imagine how many juices you have in a day. Just think of that. So please drink water, people. Flush your body.
Yes.
Please drink
Water and
water.
squeeze some lemon in it to electrolyte it to give it. When you squeeze that lemon in the water, you actually are alkalizing the water, and it's cheaper to do that than to buy alkaline water. But
And can the
alkaline water
lemon
is
have
great.
seeds? I love that. Let the
Mhm.
lemon have some seeds too, please. Please let the
Yeah.
lemon have seeds. Let it be
Yes.
real fruit.
Mhm.
A real because the lemon is an amazing thing. You can use that to start your day. You want to start to energize, use that in the morning instead of coffee.
Yes.
Drink some lemon water, So
Lemon
do you
water.
still
That's in my program. That's the first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. Lemon water.
really?
Yes.
Mm, okay. So do you still practice? You still in your salon or your hair care center? Are you
I
still doing
still
that?
have a salon. I don't do hair anymore.
Okay.
We are. I'm in there for my consultations to do my hair mineral analysis and my gut health test. So my side of it is all health and wellness. And we are, as of next year, we are going to turn the entire building just into health and wellness only, not even hair anymore. Because one of my stylists who's been with me forever, she's getting ready to retire. And I say, great, when you retire, I'm changing it into health and wellness.
Wow.
because that's where we need to be. I need to help as many people who want to listen and understand. You want to be healthy. You want to stop, taking these medications. This is what we need to do. We need to eat better. And I build meal plans out. But I'm not like, I won't, if somebody say, Debbie, I want to lose some weight, can you build me a meal plan? And I always tell them, no, I'm not your girl, because I'm not there for weight loss. My meal plans are for thyroid issues, for diabetes, for high blood pressure, for autoimmune deficiencies, for endocrine issues, PCO, things of that nature, gut issues. I build meal plans for your health, not just so that you can lose some weight.
Yeah, and if you eat what you're supposed to eat, you drink what you're supposed to drink, weight will go bye bye. The reason why we
Without
have,
you trying.
without you even trying, it will recede because it
Yep,
has no stick without if you're not feeding it. It only can stick
that's right.
if you feed it. So a lot of people say, "Well, I need a meal plan." Just eat right, eat
Yeah.
right, drink right, and weight will leave you. I
Mhm.
promise you
But
that.
many don't know how to eat right, because what
That's
they
true.
think they should eat right, like certain foods we should stay away from, hot dogs and sausages, which has all these nitrates in it. And
Right.
so a lot of people just don't know how to eat right. So a meal plan to get them started, to teach them how to eat right. It's like starting all over from a baby on how to eat, because most of
Wow.
us don't know how to eat, because we only know what we've been told or raised with. And when we walk into our supermarket, you can walk into the largest supermarket ever. You got one section of produce and you got 20 aisles of bag, box, and canned.
Absolutely, because
Process.
that's where the money's at. They put the
Absolutely.
non-money on the outskirts. Let me tell you how the supermarket's set up. All the
Hmm.
non-money is in the outside, but in the inside, that's where the cash is.
That's where
All
the
the
money
boxes,
is.
because that's where they're synthesizing everything to into. They take a little piece and make a million pieces of it, and so you
And
got your cookies. So
everything got sugar in it.
everything
Everything
got
has
sugar
sugar
in
in it.
it.
Everything.
Exactly, and they
Stuff that
put
you
the
think, well, why would you put sugar in this? They got sugar in it too.
if they did, you won't touch it because you're so used
Right.
to sugar. You wouldn't like
Yeah.
toothpaste if they didn't sweeten it up. I promise you that. So it's so unfortunate, but that's the way this system is, and it's
That's
because of money. The end game is it's lucrative, and so and being sick is lucrative. I'm not,
true. It is.
if people you can't
Unfortunately.
have a medical system like we have if people ain't sick.
That's true.
So we got to set up folks to go to the doctor, and what's going to happen? He's going to make some money off of you.
So
You go ahead.
that's true. When you mention the doctor,
Hmm.
most people, I want you, when you're looking for a doctor now, look for a functional medicine doctor. A
Mm.
functional medicine doctor is still a legitimate doctor, but they look for alternative ways before, like a prescription might be the very, very last thing they would offer you. So functional medicine is what's up. Look for a functional medicine doctor first, and they do everything like all the other doctors, but they're looking at functional ways to treat you.
Is that a holistic doctor or is that a regular internist?
There's functional medicine holistic, but then there's also functional medicine doctors that they they've been to school for maybe 7 years, may started out as a regular doctor, but now they're doing functional medicine. But yeah, definitely research it. That's what's up. You want to look for a functional medicine doctor.
I'm looking for one. I'm going to find me one. I never heard of functional medicine doctor. I'm definitely going to look for that. So let me
I'm
ask you a
studying
question
functional medicine on the holistic side right
from the holistic side. Okay.
now. Hmm.
So let me ask you a question. So when you were in this business in the thick of it and hair problems and nutrition problems, what did you see the most? What was the most issue that came through your practice?
So you asked the twofold. You said hair. So you're saying when I was seeing the hair problems.
Because you said you did hair, and so and then people had amazing hair loss. What did
Okay.
you see was the issue that caused most of the hair loss?
Okay. So most of the hair loss issues that I was seeing it was alopecia, and alopecia just means hair loss. But understand that alopecia is an autoimmune
Disease.
disorder.
Yep.
So what that means is most people have an autoimmune deficiency and don't even know it. And
Mm.
autoimmune deficiency, it could be, you could fix that. That can be fixed. Some things go deeper, like lupus is autoimmune related.
Yep.
Diabetes is autoimmune related. But again, when the body, when it reacts autoimmune, hair is a symptom. So what I'm saying is most people have autoimmune related issues and don't even know it. And
Wow.
that's, and even the thyroid is an autoimmune related issue. So the thyroid is a
Mm.
butterfly shaped gland that sits right here at the base of the neck, and
Yeah, the base of the neck.
that little gland has a lot to do with every functionality that you do every single day. One of the main things that the thyroid do is it actually helps your metabolism. So when the thyroid is having issues, you find yourself gaining weight without even eating more. You find
Yep.
yourself sluggish and fatigued. You find yourself maybe sometimes depressed and withdrawn. You find yourself just because of this thyroid gland. But one of the major symptoms of the thyroid is hair loss. So that was another thing when people were coming in and they were losing hair, it was due to the thyroid gland. I was just doing some research because this is National Women's Health Week. So I am getting ready to post a video about the thyroid gland because since it's Women's Health Week, many women don't know they have a thyroid problem, and they
Mm.
do. Millions of people are walking around with not knowing or having it misdiagnosed.
Yeah.
Misdiagnosed also a big issue. And the reason for that is because when you go to your doctor, and most of the time, if a doctor is going to check your thyroid, it's because you have chronic fatigue or you're gaining weight. There's just certain things that the doctor goes, sounds like it might be your thyroid. And so the test that they do is where they check the T3 and the T4. But the results of that test, queen, is on a scale. So a lot of time the reading is off. And most
Yep.
doctors will tell a person from the scales result, yeah, you're kind of on the border. You're at a 5, but we're going to watch you for 6 months. So you walk out of the doctor's office thinking, okay, well, he said I didn't have a thyroid problem. I'm on the border. But in actuality, you have a thyroid problem. The test that they do to me is not a great one because of what they're checking. In order to check your thyroid completely, you have to
TSH.
ask your doctor for a complete thyroid panel. And
Yep.
here's what's different in the complete thyroid panel. They're checking your potassium, mineral, and calcium, mineral levels. Your thyroid cannot function without potassium and calcium. The
Mm.
test that they check when they're checking the T3 and T4 doesn't check potassium or calcium. And so, of course, how are you going to do a test that's not checking some of the main components in it? So that's why
Mhm.
you need the complete thyroid test. And that test will let you know. But hypothyroidism, which is an underactive thyroid, and hyperthyroidism, which is an
Overactive.
overactive thyroid, is a very, very, very popular undiagnosed problem with us women, especially brown.
Mm. Wow. And because a lot of, when you're, that people say, I can't lose this over 50 weight, or after 45, I'm getting bigger and I'm not eating more. I'm not doing anything different. You might want to look at your thyroid. Eh?
You need to look at your thyroid because that's definitely one of the things. 'Cause again, it's autoimmune related, but you
Mm-hmm.
also need to also look at the liver because our liver is the fat burning center for our body.
Mm.
It's what gets the fat burning started. Well, if your liver is overloaded, if your liver is overworked, one of the jobs that the liver does is it breaks down the fat. If it's overworked, it can't break down the fat. So if your liver can't break down the fat, then that means it's not going to be able to be removed and flushed out of the body. So the liver just finds a place to store that fat. And that's how we wind up with more fat on the arms, more fat on the thighs, more fat on the butt. It's because the liver couldn't process it, couldn't burn it, couldn't break it down, couldn't filter it out. And if the liver can't do its job, then the kidney can't do its job, and so on and so forth. So I do a lot of different programs in my practice, and one of them is a liver detox, a liver cleanse. When you detox the liver, like I said, it has its own built-in detoxification system.
Yep.
But just like anything, it could get backed up and have problems. But when we flush that liver and we work on the things that help the liver, people have lost weight, 5, 10, 15 pounds without even trying hard because we're focusing on our liver. But that would be
Mhm.
another topic. I need to do more conversations with the world about the liver and the kidneys. And after this, I think I have another appointment coming up. But I do. Oh, I gotta hurry up.
We out of here soon.
Yeah, the liver is another topic I would love to be able to discuss with you, because people need to understand that where our health, there's two things that's affecting our health. It's our gut and it's our liver. And those are two things that we can fix. One thing to say, the liver is the only organ in our body, Queen,
that regenerate.
That can generate itself. It can shrivel up like a prune, and it starts
and come right back
the size of a football. But when you cleanse it, detoxify it, you eat the right foods, you give the liver what it needs, it's the only organ in the body that can literally get back to the original size and be what it needs to be again. That tells you right there the power of the liver, because no other
bad
organ,
boy. Yeah, it's a bad boy.
Once the heart go bad, there's not much you can do.
You got to replace it.
The kidneys, you got two. So sometimes doctors will say, well, you got a bad kidney, I'll remove one. But the liver, we can restore. We can reverse the liver.
Exactly. And you can cut a piece of it. You can cut a piece of it and give to somebody, and it regenerate that way.
That's how amazing it will come. Yeah. So there's a lot of history in our liver and our health. And I'll say this, and then I have to go. This was a wonderful call. But I always tell people to think of the liver as the garbage truck in our body. It takes in all the garbage. It has to break down all the garbage, and it flushes out all the garbage. But think of the kitchen sink. We all have had our kitchen sink where it's gotten backed up.
Yeah.
Right. And we would pour some liquid plumber down it to clean out the sink before we call the plumber. Here's the resolution to flush out our liver: drinking celery juice. Celery juice is our liquid plumber for the liver. And not only will it help the liver, oh, girl, do some research about celery juice. Yes.
Oh, I'm going to
celery juice. It is the liver.
Juice it naturally, or juice
it with a juicer. If you don't have a juicer, you'd have to blend it, but then you have to squeeze it with a nut milk bag. But celery juice, and why the juice and not just eating the whole celery? The whole celery is great too. But you understand, most of us, if we have gut issues, means we have digestive issues, which means the stomach, the gut, the body is not being able to absorb a lot of the nutrients. But when we're drinking something in liquid form, it goes straight into the bloodstream. And so with it going straight into the bloodstream, that liver is hitting it, it's getting in their liver right away and start flushing stuff out, getting stuff out. I've seen pictures of liver with black spots, and after celery juice for a couple of weeks, spots are gone. The body has changed, all of that. So the liver is celery juice is our secret weapon for our health. On that note, I'm gonna have
I know you gotta go, Ms. Debbie. We're gonna let you go. Can I send my hair in a bag to you? I need to send my hair to you. I need.
Well, if you want to do a hair,
yeah. How do people do things? We're in Baltimore. We can't get to your center.
Well, no, because all of my patients are across the country. They are everywhere, even out of the country.
So tell us how we can get to you.
So if you want to you can go to my website, askdebbieabouthair.com, and there you'll see all the information that I have. If you want to do a hair mineral analysis, you'll see the information about a hair mineral analysis on the site. If you want to do a gut health test, you will see the gut health test on the site. If you wanted to do one of my programs, the sugar loss program, the gut health program, one for high blood pressure, diabetes. I have all different they're programs that's changing your diet, because how do we heal our body? We heal our body using food as medicine. And the other word for that is called a lifestyle change. So how do we heal? We do what we call a lifestyle change. That lifestyle change means we are letting go of the alcohol. We are letting go of the smoking. We are letting go of all the poisons that we're putting in the body. You can't smoke and drink and put poisons in the body, but like, I won't be healthy. How you gonna help me? How come I'm not healthy? Think about it. You're not healthy because what you're putting in your body, So if you are willing to make those changes, I'm willing to make those changes with you. So just go to the site and get all that information.
Well, thank you so much for coming in. And listen, we're going to stay linked, because we got to have you again. You're a Baltimorean on the side. You're a little side Baltimore.
Yes.
So
I'm an up north girl. Even though I live here in Atlanta, I'm from the north, and I represent the north all day long.
I love it. I hear it. I hear your accent, so I love it. I absolutely love it. So bless you. Thanks for coming through, and we're going to link up again for sure.
It was my pleasure. I loved it. Thank you, my love. I will talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Family, we just had Debbie Williams. She was amazing. Um, the information that she gave was so amazing, and I want you guys to please check out this interview if you didn't see the whole thing, but also look at your diet, look at your environment, look at what you're consuming, because we're unhealthy because of what's around us. It's what we're putting in our mouth and what we're exposing our bodies to. So please, let's do an analysis on our own bodies. Our body tells us what's the problem is, and we have to address it, and it starts with diet. I also want to put up, I'm going to put it up, it's just me here, but somebody's going to see this. We have a new joint going on at BlackBox Radio. It's called Live for 25. That's what we call it. It is a promotion we're doing. You see, I'm sharing the screen so everyone can see. And what it is you advertise with us live for a minute and 25 seconds. You can get on and talk about your business. You can talk about your son graduating from college. You can talk about the prom, anything that you want to advertise, that as long as it's not vulgar, or you know what I'm saying, as long as it is something that makes sense. Come on for $25. We'll give you a minute and 25 to do your thing. Just knock it out. Or you can send us a video and we will play that. Or we could actually just post a banner about your business and explain in the comments what your business is. So please check us out. Email us at blackboxradio@gmail.com. That's BLAKBOXXRADIO@gmail.com about Live for 25. This is our new marketing. We're going to start next week. Live for 25. Come on for a minute and 25 seconds and talk about your business, your interests, anything that can help the Black boxes and help Black people. Please come through. So Chuck, email us and we'll send you how to be a part of that. Okay. So that is Live for 25. That is our new joint coming down. We are in the bbR luncheon series. We had Miss Debbie Williams. She blew up the spot. Real talk. We talked about herbs. We talked about minerals. We talked about health. We talked about hair. We talked about it all. We're going to have her again because the body is it. It is everything that we need. It tells us everything I need. And if we do what we supposed to, it will do everything that you needed to do. Listen, have a great Friday the 13th. It is Friday the 13th. Don't be scared because it's all a myth. It's a great day in Baltimore. It's warm. Wherever you are, enjoy yourself, enjoy your life, be free, be blessed. We are boxed up and out. Deuces. Peace.